Hey guys, it's Beth Rist here. Just talk a couple of things here. I'll let everybody get back to their evening. Apparently there was a couple of shootings here recently. I'm not going to give details because I'm going to wait for the authorities to. Apparently, one was at a restaurant. B-dubs out here. Okay, there's witnesses. Shots fired coming across the radio or whatever. Why doesn't the news? Why doesn't the news report that? Why doesn't the news report something like that instead of, and I've said this, and everybody says, oh, quit harping on the bike thing. I'm not harping on the bike thing. But if you're going to get in your truck and drive from Huntington to Ironton to interview 3 cops giving a little kid a bike who's related to the sheriff, I mean, my dear God, you can't come and cover a shooting. You can't come and cover a body. How many bodies have been in the river or Storms Creek? And where was the news? Were they there? No. But by golly, they'll come here if the police tell them to come here. So you're not going to hear anything on the local news because the authorities don't want you to. Why? Why don't they want you to know what goes on? Well, several reasons. That good old dollar, greenbacks, old term for money, greenbacks. If people see that this is a crime-ridden area, which we all know it is, they won't move here. Well, who's going to move here anyway because of the utility bill? Okay? Anyway, so why don't we know anything? Why is the police, why did they go to a private channel so we couldn't hear where they were at or what they were doing? Scanners, everybody knew everything. That helped a lot. If the officer got in trouble, people listening to scanners, they would run outside and try to help. But anyway, the shootings and, this is not Peyton Place. And for the government to try to act like it is, they're lying to you. You're being deceived. This is not Peyton Place. Something bad happens here all day long, every night long, 24/7. They just don't want you to know about it. It's just, that's what's important to our leaders. They want to keep that job. They want to keep that title. They want to keep that income. They want to keep all that investments they got with all the corrupt shit they're doing. That's what they want to keep. So the police will control, they can call the hospital and say don't release any information. Well, there's certain cases that need that. Or they can call the station and say don't release that. Okay, so the police control what happens to a hospital or news, anything. The government controls the police, right? Who controls the government? Who controls the government? I also want to be talking about these accidental overdoses here happening. A lot because, who's to say? It's, it's just a bad, everybody's on heroin, everybody's on fentanyl, all that. It's just a bad area. It's a bad time. And, every overdose is accidental. What's to say that somebody might say, hey, Beth, I'm going to bring a new friend over. And, or let's not use me because I don't do drugs, but let's say somebody did. Let's say I did. And they said, bring him over. And then they're here for the first time. They don't like me, maybe. They have some kind of deal with me, my past, or somebody that I knew that they knew or whatever. They could come over and say, hey, I got some fentanyl and kill you. And the police will say it's an accidental overdose. Are you kidding me? How many people do you think have been murdered by fentanyl in this county, in this city, in the last year at least? The last 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 6 years? Are you guys... Just come out of that turtle shell and peek out for 1 fucking second and see what's happening here in Ironton. Just peek out for 1 second. Excuse my language. But peek out and look at what's going on around here. And nobody wants to stop it. Nobody wants to stop it. I do. Can't do it by myself. And then I talked about the whole category of rich, poor, middle class, whatever. How many times you want to call it or how you want to do it. But my whole thing is, and I'll leave you with this because I'm kind of wound, and the whole fentanyl accidental overdose, accidental drownings, just accidentally got raped and beat up and then thrown in Storms Creek, but that was accidental. Well, we still don't have the autopsy report for that person, do we? No, we don't. Will we get it? I doubt it. Okay, and nobody's going to push it. Nobody's going to push it, and therefore it's none of my business. It's not my family member. So, but that's pretty much what happened, and I have facts on that. This is just something I had written down in one of my journals. I grabbed the wrong book, but when you're poor, everything you see is something that you cannot have. okay? When you're rich, everything you have is something you can't truly see the value in. You know, until you've had to scrape in a mason jar and count pennies, honey, you ain't lived life. If you was born with a silver spoon and, you know, everything's been handed to you and you got this and you got that, you know, I'm glad for you, honey. But that don't mean anything about character or what you've had to struggle to survive. You know, people say, oh, God, you know, she's getting old. Yeah, I got dark circles under my eyes. I've been through hell several times. I'm still here. But, you know, let's just pay more attention to the local authorities when they say, even if they take time to say it. How many bodies do we not even know about that was not reported? You know? I mean, you guys, really, I'm serious. You really need to open your eyes and look what's going on around here. And if that's one of your family members, and I've talked about, well, I don't have to name how many people I've talked to about, several of them. Then they say, I know that's what happened. You know who he got it from, know who she got it from, know who they got it from. You know, accidental overdose. Then nobody questions it. Nobody questions it. That's what I said in videos last year. You know, you whatever the police or the government or the officials locally want people to remember you by is what they say happened to you. Like I've said before, advise all your family members, if you have anything to do with, you know, like me, I'm a whistleblower. You know, I call out corruption. I call out anything that I think is not right. And so, therefore, if anything would happen to me, my family's not calling the police, and I'm not calling 911. Obviously, I'll be dead. I'm not going to call 911. But, you know, they could come in there, and like I said before, I could have a jar of olives sitting next to the bed, and they could put drugs or anything they wanted in there, and then report. Jim Carrey said whatever he wanted to about me in the Art and Tribune, and they let him say it. And Jim, you're a preacher and all. I'm praying for you, honey. I'm praying for you. But yeah. And then put whatever he wants in the paper about me that had nothing to do with anything. It's about my personal life. But you know, that's how it is. And but anyway, I'm going to be going in depth. If you've had a accidental death of somebody, contact me. I had a long list of people that are upset about this. And, you know, once you're buried and gone, nobody cares. Nobody cares. Don't matter how good you were or how bad you were. You know? Poor old Tom Allen would roll over in his grave right now if he knew what was down there in his. And I'm not judging that because I love grannies and I've not been to that place. But I'm just saying, you know, that's how people, he was old school. He had business here years and years and years and years. But I'm saying, that's how times are changing. Times are changing. You have to adapt to that or not, okay? So just quit hiding behind a bush or behind a tree and saying, oh, I didn't see that. Did you see what happened? I didn't see anything. Chicken shits. Of course you seen something. Why are you too chicken to say it? You gonna lose your job? You gonna go to your grave? Excuse me. You gonna go to your grave living by somebody controlling every move you make and how you spend your money and what you buy and what you eat and where you go to get this and get that, how much gas. Excuse me. But anyway, sorry that got me off track there. But I'll be doing more about the fentanyl accidental overdoses and, you know, when you guys are out partying and everybody's messed up and you're in a room and everybody's just, you know, hitting it, whatever. Hey, you know, somebody drops over dead, everybody's going to run. And then anybody wants to speak up about what happened, the police will say they're not credible. So it's a double-edged sword. So it's easier to say, oh, accidental overdose. Got a hold of some bad stuff. Well, you think? You think? Stick with me. I'll be back shortly. God bless. Death risks.